Hi, I'm Karis and welcome to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. Today, I want to talk all about why I have decided to be a stay-home mom at the age of 23. This is kind of a controversial topic. Recently, I've been coming across a lot of TikTok videos of moms who were previously a stay-home mom who really regretted their decisions later on in life. I've also came across some other content creators who are younger like myself, who have decided to be a stay-home mom. There's a lot of different thoughts and beliefs around this, and I was a little hesitant to even share. However, I wanted to make this content still because I have often felt kind of guilty or felt like I wasn't making a very smart decision in choosing to be a stay-home mom, just because we do live in a world where women are encouraged to have a career, which I love that. I'm so grateful to have empowerment. There's so many women who came before us to make this possible. And so because of that, sometimes being a stay-home mom is looked down upon. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. It's really windy out, so the trees are like making a lot of noises. And also, as somebody who grew up being a very overachieving type of person, it's hard for me to choose to slow down and just be a mom instead of going out and chasing a career. But then also, it's a little intimidating when you hear people's perspectives of admitting I was a stay-home mom and now I ended up getting a divorce and I lost everything. I lost myself and it just was not a good experience for them. And I am the type of person who likes to learn from other people, and so I take those perspectives very, very seriously. And then just my personal story. My mom did stay at home. My husband's mom did stay at home, and my parents ended up getting a divorce, and his parents ended up getting a divorce, both of which were not divorces they ever thought would happen. And it left both of our moms to having to transition from being a stay-home mom to a working mom, and they've both done amazing, and they've been great examples of how to do both. But seeing that growing up, you get a little scared to make those decisions later on for yourself. But all that being said, I want to talk about why personally I have decided to be a stay-home mom and give you some of my reasonings. So first of all, who made this decision? Well, I did. I made the decision, and my husband is the kind that just supports whatever decision I make when it comes to something like this. Financially, obviously, we had to make this decision together, and we had to rely on him being able to financially support us, which is very scary to rely on one person's income. As somebody who is very much of the financial person in the marriage, I'm the one that takes care of our bills and all of that. It's very scary to trust that it's all gonna work out. But the main reason I chose to be a stay-home mom was, honestly, I just have always known from a young age I wanted to stay at home for at least the first 5 years of their lives. Now, I have never wanted to be a stay-home mom, homeschooling mom. Once the kids get big enough, I want to send them to school. I do not see myself being like a full-on stay-home mom forever. The other thing that made this decision very easy for me is I've actually never had a real job. I've just been an entrepreneur ever since I graduated college. While I was in college, I had started 2 businesses, one of which really took off. So that's the business I've been running. So it's nothing new to me to stay at home. It's not new to me to balance how to do work and live at home and have those 2 spaces kind of be in the same area. And there's nothing more that scares me than going to an actual job. I've never wanted to work for somebody. I've never wanted to have to clock in. I just really like my freedom of being able to work whenever I want. And if you've ever been a business owner, you know that actually usually means you work way more than the typical 40-hour week. But I rather work insanely amount for myself or for doing what I love than clocking in somewhere. So it wasn't very hard for me to make this decision to stay at home because I'm already used to being at home. The only thing that is going to change is for the first few years of their lives, I'm going to slow down on my business. The other driving force of this decision is having twins. So if you don't know, I'm pregnant with identical twin girls. And if you've seen some of our other videos, you know that this was not a pregnancy we had planned on. We got married end of September and we found out we were pregnant like a month and a half later. Also, honestly, don't know a lot about babies. Neither my husband and I really grew up around babies. We've never changed diapers. We have no idea what we're doing. And I'm educating myself, by the way. I've spent a lot of time the past few months, both him and I, reading books. We've taken courses. We've gone to classes. So hopefully, by the time they arrive, we'll know how to keep them alive. But because of that, I knew that I didn't want to worry about working and being a mother because I want to know how to genuinely take care of these babies. And because it's 2 at a time, it feels like it's a whole different ball game. So that was another driving force. As soon as we found out we were having twins, I was like, yeah, there's just no way I'm gonna try to balance work and raising twins. And then the other driving force was I don't want to rely on daycare. I don't want to rely on babysitters. We have a lot of help. We have grandparents who want to be very active and we have great friends. They're gonna help us and we're gonna take that help gladly. But I don't want my kids to be raised by other people. And some people can't help that. And I completely understand. There are some moms who just can't stay at home and that's okay. But I think we will have the privilege to be able to make it to where I can stay at home so that I get to raise my kids. And I really believe the first few years of their lives are the most formative parts of their lives. I've been reading a lot of child psychology books and have talked to therapists, and over and over and over again I hear just the importance of the bonding that your kids are forming the first few years of their lives. That kind of shapes them for the rest of their lives. And if that's the case, I'd rather maybe give up on having the nicest car, the nicest home and whatnot, take a pay cut, and me get to be at home forming these connections and bonds with them as well as their dad. Also, daycare is really expensive. So when we thought about daycare for 2, I was like, oh my gosh, that in itself takes a whole salary. So that was another driving force in my decision to want to be a stay-home mom. The other reason is just I've always wanted to be able to provide my kids with a very memorable childhood where they have access to me and their dad, and where we're not always working to where they barely get to see us. But I want to be able to do activities with them. I want to be able to play with them. Play is such an important aspect of childhood development, and I want to be able to provide that for my kids. I would love to be able to just be there for my kids and for them to know we're available for them. I think sometimes in the culture we live in, we get so fixated on financially providing for our kids and giving them everything they could ever want, to where we forget that sometimes the most important and precious thing you can offer your kids is your time, yourself, your availability. And I want to be able to offer that to them, especially at a young age. Again, it's easy for me to say all these things now as somebody who's not a parent yet. And maybe I'm going to be a total hypocrite later on. But for now, these are kind of the thought processes I've been having as I've made this decision to stay at home with my twins. Now, there is one thing I really want to make sure I cover, and that is the importance of making sure I don't lose myself in motherhood. A lot of the moms that I've spoken to who have some regrets about being a stay-home mom, they ended up just completely losing themselves in motherhood. They didn't ever give themselves time to do what they want to do. They just embraced the motherhood role, and that's all they did, which is beautiful and a very selfless thing to do. But one thing I want to very much be careful of is making sure that I still am Karis. I'm not just mom. I'm not just a wife, but I am still Karis. In some ways, I plan on making sure I get to keep being me is by prioritizing my mental health. I'm not going to stop going to therapy. I am not going to stop doing the things that bring me little bits of joy and happiness. I want to make sure I take the time to take care of myself, my health, because I want my kids and my husband to have the best version of me. And if I just wear myself out to death, they're not gonna have the best version of me. They're gonna get a very, very worn out version of me. So I have to take care of myself in order to be the best mother and wife I can be. I also have always been the type of person who has always had something to do on the side. So even though I'm not going to be working a full-time job, I know I will always have something I'm working on the side. So for example, content creation is something I've been doing a lot throughout this pregnancy because I've had a little bit more time. And I love creating content. I love connecting with other women. So I know I'll have that. It won't be something I do all the time to where it takes me away from being present in the moment, but it's gonna be something of mine that I get to do, and I'm gonna continue to do things like that. I think the last thing I kind of want to talk about is the fear that most women have. By being a stay-home mom, they fear that if something goes haywire, if unfortunately they get divorced, what happens? How are they going to financially support themselves? A lot of the hard stories that I've been hearing recently have a lot to do with that, where the mom was a stay-home mom. She had no idea what was happening in their household financially because the husband always took care of it. Then they got a divorce and she ended up having no money, and she's starting all over again at the age of 40 plus. And that's very, very scary. But I think what helps me feel like that doesn't have to be my story is, one, financially, I think I've already mentioned this earlier, I am the one that is more of the financial nerd in our household. So I'm the one that really knows what's happening, and I plan on always being involved. I remember one time I mentioned to my mom, like, oh, I don't want to learn anything to do with finances. I'll just have my husband do it. And I remember her like looking at me and be like, no, you need to learn how to do this. And I took that to heart. So I'm not gonna just be a mother who is completely blinded to what's happening financially. I can't do it. I worry too much. And there's no telling what would happen if my husband was in charge of paying the bills. I don't think anything would ever get paid. So there's that. But two, I genuinely think even if I stop my career and just become just a mother, I can still be marketable later on in life to get a good job, because I have all the attributes of a really great employee. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to take everything I've learned from motherhood and be able to apply it to my career field. And I've seen so many other women do it, my mother included. She was a stay-home mom for 20 plus years, and then now she's been working and succeeding and doing really well in her career field. So I'm not afraid that I'm not going to be able to financially support myself if something unfortunate happens. And I think that's the one thing we need to remember as young adults who are making these decisions. It can be very intimidating because the world often tells you your success comes from climbing up the corporate ladder, from working hard and making a lot of money and having the nicest, fanciest thing. But if that's not your thing and what you really want to do is be a mom, you can do it. And that you don't have to feel bad for it. You don't have to feel guilty for it or feel less than for it or feel like you're not accomplishing enough, because that is, I believe, a big accomplishment. It's kind of like being teachers. Sometimes I think people look down upon teachers, and I never understand why, because they're literally preparing the next generation. So that's what you're doing as a mom. And I think that's a really, really big responsibility. And it's not a responsibility I want to take lightly. It's something I really want to do my best on. And I think right now anyways, I believe I'm going to do my best if I'm focused on one thing at a time instead of having a whole job and being a mother. But I do admire those who are able to do it all. I don't know how you women do that. There's so many single moms out there who are just juggling it all, and that's amazing. But I've been given the privilege to get to do this, so I'm gonna try not to be stubborn and just take the opportunity and try to get over some of these fears that I do have. So yeah, those are the few reasons I've decided to be a stay-home mom. We'll see how well this video ages. Maybe I'll do this for a year and think like, oh my gosh, no way, I can't do this. And that's okay. I'm gonna be flexible, I'm gonna be open. But today, the time I'm filming this is how I'm feeling. And I hope it helps somebody else out there who has maybe thought about doing similar things and you were just a little bit scared. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. I've done a few other pregnancy related videos you can check out after this. Feel free to follow me over on Instagram. I'm very active on there. But yeah, that is all. And until next time, bye.